Well, hey everybody, it is Wes Hagen, and welcome to Day Drinking on this wonderful 14th day of May in the glorious year 2020, which we will all remember with such incredible fondness. This was the year just a couple months ago I had, basically a flat top haircut, and now here I am with a full glorious head of hair, wearing my Fernet Branca shirt online, working for the Miller Family Wine Company. Thank goodness that the Millers have kept my job in effect, and I have pivoted as much as I possibly could to make sure that all of you fine folks have something to hopefully assuage your boredom at 5 o'clock every night. So I'm very excited that you guys are here. Tonight's going to be a great show. It's going to be probably a little bit shorter, and it will be the last Thursday show. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving the show to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Same time, 5 o'clock, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, as I mentioned yesterday. I'll be spending a little more time in production, in reading, and finding cool new subjects to share with you guys. So I'm going to actually, and Dawn, so glad you're here, and John, I saw you sneak in too. Thank you guys so much for being here. So so this will be the last Thursday show for now. I don't know, I might get bored on Tuesdays and Thursdays and miss you guys so much that I'll bring you guys back, but I'm going to do a little bit of research and study about social media, making videos. We're going to get a little bit better equipment. I ordered a nicer camera. So we're taking this stuff serious, and we're taking it as serious as day drinking. So Dawn and John, everybody else who's coming in, thank you guys so much for giving me an excellent excuse to have a drink at 5 o'clock every night. Happy day drinking, brother. I like the DD. I'll throw some DDs at it. That's a kind of a famous thing. There's a producer of Frisbee golf discs called Dynamic Discs, and they're also known as DD because that's their symbol. So it gets exciting. So I did end up driving to Paso Robles today, which was the longest I have actually traveled since March 11th, at which time March 11th I finished my last official wine event for J.Wilkes. And at that point, what did I do? I did a wine blending seminar and a presentation at a country club in Bakersfield. I was supposed to go from Bakersfield up to San Francisco. Got a call that my work with was canceled because Southern Wine and Spirits had decided not to put any of us dirty winemakers in their reps' cars. And Russell, so glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. And as a result, I didn't have anything to do the next day, so I just canceled my hotel room up near San Francisco, and I just drove straight home from Bakersfield, which I was stoked because it's actually, I think, closer to get home to Santa Maria than it is to get to San Francisco. So since March 11th, which happened to be my wife's birthday, which means I got to come home on my wife's birthday, which was very, very nice, I've basically been buckled down here. I've driven to Santa Barbara a couple times. I've driven around Santa Maria Valley. Have not made it to Los Angeles like I normally do 3-4 times a month at least. And then I had the opportunity today. I'm going to be doing this cool show on Friday, next Friday, a week from tomorrow, at 2 o'clock for the Paso Robles Wine Alliance, where I will be getting together on a Zoom call with one of my great winemaking heroes, which is Gary Eberly, the first UC Davis graduate of their wine program to settle in Paso Robles, and obviously one of the progenitors of the Paso Robles area. You can't really... March 11th? Yeah. As I say to all you damn Pisces, just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. That's awesome. I had no idea that was your birthday. Yeah. My birthday is March 25th. My wife's is on the 11th. So it's really easy because we're always 2 weeks apart. We have the numerology of our relationship is very important. We were married on 9900. We met on 4/8/99. I don't know why that matters, but I just happen to remember it. But I love the fact that I got married in the year 2000 because it's always super, super easy for me to remember how long I've been married. So as soon as September comes, I'll be married 20 years because it's 2020. That's exactly the way that I help memorize and remember that stuff. And Karen! Excellent. I'm so glad you're here, Karen. That's awesome. Yeah, Gary Eberly is the man. Love me some Gary, and we're going to be we're going to be talking about ripeness and alcohol in Paso wines. And so I dropped some wines off for him to taste because I haven't made Paso wines very often. And our winemaking friend Dominic is here from Gardner, New York, and As I said, you send me booze, I'll taste it on camera before the show starts. The show always starts at 5 o'clock, and we have 15 minutes, always at the beginning. I've got to get my palate refreshed. Santa Maria Brewing Company, a beer called Crahazy. So you might be able to figure out just by its title. It's pretty good. I've been tasting a lot of really amazing beers lately, so I might be a little bit jaded, but I do believe that the Santa Maria Brewing Company is doing very good work. So Dominic was nice enough to send me a bunch of wines from his backyard and wines that he makes in Gardner, New York, and the labels are beautiful for the gorgeous homemade labels. They're very shiny. This is the Vidal Blanc. Vidal Blanc was developed and brought to the United States by a guy named, to Ontario, Canada by Jean-Louis Vidal. But Vidal actually didn't bring it to the United States. Vidal developed it for cognac production. So he took Trebbiano, which is also known as Uni Blanc, U-G-N-I. Uni Blanc is one of the most planted grapes on the planet. Why? It ain't for wine, although some cheap white wine is made from it. It's an incredibly high productive grape variety that makes cognac. And there is a sense in cognac, because I've actually visited cognac and had some conversations with cognac producers, that the worst grapes make the best cognac, which I always say, everyone always says, a wine has to be calm. If it's hard and uninteresting when it's young, it's going to get more interesting. I think that's complete BS. I think great grapes make great wines, and great young wines make great wines in their middle age, and great middle-aged wines make great wines in their dotage. So that's all well and good. So welcome back to Dominic. I really appreciate you watching. And let's go ahead and open this delicious Vidal Blanc and give it a shot. What else did I learn about Vidal Blanc? Well, remember last night we were talking about Deschonach, which was one of the grapes that that you were talking about. And it turns out I actually found out about him and doing a little research about Vidal so I could speak to it on the show. And that Deschonach, if I'm pronouncing it right, was a French enologist who was working in Ontario, Canada, to help develop these grapes. So important too that Vidal, named after Jean-Louis Vidal, also because they were trying to make it cold hardy by putting some American grapes to make a hybrid with Trebbiano, and otherwise known as Uni Blanc, they would be able to grow it in northern France without the fear so much of frost and very incredibly cold winter temperatures. So this is a grape that was developed for northern France for cognac production. Turns out it reflected an amazing aromatic complexity. I would consider Vidal a aromatic white wine. And also Vidal makes a wine that if I was offered to say, okay, show me a hybrid wine that is absolutely world-class, go. You got 5 minutes. I'd run down to Costco and pick up a bottle of the Inniskillin Vidal Blanc ice wine. So Vidal makes, you don't even have to say Vidal Blanc, just say Vidal. That's really all you have to say. But Vidal makes an incredible ice wine up in the Vancouver in the VQA. So if you've never tried Vidal, I'll try to give you guys a quick and dirty summation of what Dominic's doing with it. So this is Gardner, New York, Profaci Vineyards, Vidal Blanc, 2018. You can see that beautiful, kind of nice light. I call that a light to medium minus straw. Can't really see much probably behind the paper, but kind of get a sense of the color there. Remember, when we're looking at color, there's a few things we want to keep in mind. Number one, always use either natural or incandescent light. If you use fluorescent light, you're going to get a false reading of the color of the wine. I don't know how many dry Vidals I've had. It's actually a lot more flinty and mineral than I would have imagined. This wine's got a lot of really interesting aromatic complexity. And Jason and John, so glad you guys are here. Stoked to see Phil and Jim and Karen and everybody else coming in. So this is fantastic. I love to, when you have a party, you love to have it when people knock on the door. So thank you guys all so much for coming out. And really interesting and good news as we taste this Profaci 2018 Vidal Blanc from Gardner, New York. Very mineral in the nose. It's a tiny, I would say it's still a little bit, tiny bit reductive, and it probably still has just a little bit of the sulfur dioxide showing in the nose. I'm very sensitive to sulfur dioxide. Most people, when I find a wine to be a little hot on SO2 in the nose, generally other people normally don't smell it. So I think this is going to be a little bit of not even a pet peeve in my world. It's just potentially just showing a little bit of the sulfur that was added before bottling, sulfur dioxide being absolutely, you cannot get away with putting a wine in bottle without sulfur dioxide. I don't want to get into the natural wine discussion, but a lot of those wines are completely and totally undrinkable. Some of them are delicious. So mineral reductive, big amounts of sort of like a chalky, sort of granitic sort of minerality for me in the nose. Fruit's pretty sublime for a young wine. It's not a fruit bomb, and it's not an aromatic fruit bomb. If I was given this glass and said, what is it? I'd say either it's got an aroma that reminds me of Chenin Blanc. It's got an aroma that reminds me of Chablis. So somewhere between Stellenbosch, Chablis, Stellenbosch, Chenin Blanc, and Chablisian Chardonnay. I don't know how we got from Trebbiano and a crazy hybrid grape to this wine, but you know what I love about it? It really has an amazing mineral depth to it. And that mineral depth to me is inimitable. It's soil, it's place. And my guess is this was probably fermented in either a glass carboy or a stainless steel vessel, because it clearly tastes and smells as if it was fermented in a reductive environment. Some winemakers would say a reductive environment or a wine that shows reductive character. Reductive character sometimes can, it basically, if all the aromas within a wine are fantastic and good, the reductive environment keeps all of those in solution. In an oxidative environment, a lot of the aromas are going to start blowing off and disappearing. So I like a reductive environment when you're making a wine from a spectacular vineyard or from a great site. This one is on the edge of showing a reductive edge that some people might find slightly off-putting. I love where it is right now. I think most wine drinkers probably would prefer to have a little more bright fruit. Would I have added copper sulfate early on? I don't know if I would have, because I really like this lean mineral style. I don't know if I've ever had a Vidal that has this serious sort of mineral vinifera edge to it. So I'm kind of digging that. Definitely light-bodied and bright. Good, not only good, but almost, like mouth-watering acidity. Acidity to the edge. Now, I used to follow the Grateful Dead, so my feelings on acid. I like it. This has some of the most profound acid of any wine I've had outside of the Finger Lakes, which is probably all not that far, a lot closer to you, Dom, than me in California. And I think it's starting to open up a little bit. I think the SO2 is blowing off a little bit. I'm getting a little bit more fruit, a little bit of pear, a little bit of quince. It's kind of a bitchin' wine. I dig it. Let's go ahead and bring our Instagram folks on. And we are officially live. Here we go. Well, hello, Instagram. It's 5 o'clock, which means you are joining our Facebook friends. We start 4:45 on Facebook. We start 5 o'clock on Instagram. My name is Wes Hagen. I am a winemaker from Santa Barbara County, California. I've been making wine here in Santa Barbara between Santa Rita Hills, Santa Maria Valley, and now I make wine in Paso Robles as well for the Miller Family Wine Company. I was originally with Clos Pepe Vineyards for over 20 years, where I was the vineyard manager and the winemaker for Clos Pepe Vineyards. I also write the petitions to establish American viticultural areas. So if you've heard of a few AVAs in California, a few AVAs in Santa Barbara, I had a thing to do with them. I wrote the petition that established the Santa Rita Hills. I wrote the petition that established Ballard Canyon. I wrote the petition that established Happy Canyon of Santa Barbara. And I've recently finished a petition about 2.5 years ago it was right at the beginning of the Trump administration, because Trump shut down the Federal Register. So as a result, I put in a petition to start an AVA. He shut down the Federal Register because he wanted to look at the Federal Register and how it was impacting sort of a regulation in the United States. The irony is he was trying to take away impediments for business to really kick butt in the United States. As it turned out, it slowed down the process of me submitting and having returned as a perfected document from the Trade and Taxation Bureau in Washington, D.C. So I've written 4 AVA petitions. 3 AVAs in Santa Barbara have been approved, waiting on Alisos Canyon. So I love to talk about place in wine. Wine is really, really important to me because it's like place in a glass. And in an environment where we can't travel, in an environment where we're not necessarily stuck at home, I like to feel that I am blessed with a home that I love to be in. I've got my dogs, I've got my wife, I've got my Frisbee golf baskets. I can throw Frisbees, I can go outside, I can garden, I can play video games, I can watch TV, I can snuggle with all the mammals in my house. I freaking love it. Now remember, I am a traveling salesman when I'm not making wine. I'm making wine 2-3 months out of the year, generally starting, getting ready in August and then September, October, all in. And hopefully by Halloween, you can always tell a winemaker by what kind of vintage it is, because look at a winemaker right around Halloween and see how they look. If they make Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, they're going to be very happy because the grapes come in early and they're going to probably be all barreled down. So we start with an empty winery full of empty barrels and tanks, and at the very last day of harvest, we do something very important, which is called barreling down, which when you call your friends, like, bro, how's harvest? Oh, dude, I'm barreled down. That is the moment in the year where you have finished everything. It's like, opening night of a play. Well, maybe that's when you release the wine, but making wine, it's like a 3-year process. Think about what you do for a living. And then think about what I do for a living, in the sense that I take fresh fruit and I process it minimally, ferment it minimally, age it for somewhere between 4 and 18 months. And then we're going to put the wine in a bottle. Then we're going to release it to the world. And then we're going to send it to the wine enthusiast. We're going to send it to Wine Spectator. We're going to send it to the tasting panel, Somm Journal. We're going to send it to probably hang out with Antonio Galloni and taste the wines in person with him. And then you wait for that moment. And think about like a wine that you have made. You spent a year to grow it, a year to make it, and then probably a couple months to let it kind of settle in the bottle. And then you swirl it and you stick your nose in it. And just by the act of smelling and tasting that wine, you are determining if the last 3 years of your life have been worth it. The only other thing that I can imagine is a novelist or a filmmaker or a playwright spending a year to write a screenplay, a year to sell it, and then a year to produce it. And then the moment you open the New York Times and look at your review, that's the moment of smelling the wine for the first time out of the bottle, because sometimes you really have great hopes for a wine and it underperforms. Sometimes a wine absolutely comes back sort of from the dead or from a place where you weren't happy with it, and all of a sudden it shows that it was just in a little bit of a dumb place. So, I'm not saying a wine can be brown like in Bottle Shock and then just come back and beat Montrachet at the Judgment of Paris in 1976. That kind of stuff might not happen. Miraculous things do not happen with wine outside of the New Testament. So for me, the most important thing is to keep an open mind, use my craft, focus in and do the best thing I possibly can, and know that if I make 10 wines a year, I want every one of those 10 wines to be profound and delicious and wonderful and make all you fabulous people happy. If a wine underperforms a little bit, I'm not going to freak out right away, because maybe the bottle will come back a little bit, and that's really important. So we just finished up tasting a wine from my friend Dominic Profaci, from New York, and it is a Vidal Blanc, and we were talking a little bit about hybrid grapes and the history of hybrid grapes and a little bit of that. And this was kind of in our pre-game over there on Facebook. So I'm going to finish this. Day drinking, baby. So I always want to know, and Kristen Labonte, so nice to have you, and Jennifer and Phil. And I'm not going to try to, I look at all the Instagram names and they're all a little bit more creative. So, Chef Claude Beltran, are you kidding me? Claude, dude, how are you? I hope everything's good down in Pasadena. if you've never eaten at Bacchus Kitchen, or back in the day, Noir, or, all the different restaurants that he does, Claude and Friends. I mean, all the different stuff. And I haven't been down in Pasadena. My brain is completely farting out. But thank you, Claude. Claude is actually one of my top 3 chefs in Los Angeles. I'm not saying only because, but I've had scallops that this guy has done for a group of like 50, and every single bite of every single scallop on the floor has been perfect. So chef, yeah, I always say I love chefs with all my heart. And hello, Nora. I love chefs with all my heart because when I'm at a winemaker dinner, like with Chef Claude, he'll be in the kitchen literally sweating his ass off, working hard to make sure all the food's perfect. I'm out on the floor being like, in 424 BCE, Aristophanes wrote the words, "Quickly bring me a flagon of wine," so I may wet my brain and say something clever. And everyone's like, "Oh, ho, 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 oh, you're awesome." And at the end, everyone's like, "Yay, go winemaker." I'm like, dude, I was out here eating, drinking, and just talking smack. So, or giving history or whatever I do at winemaker dinners. People seem to like it, I guess. But the most important thing is, chef, we know who's working hard. I hope the catering and the pickup and all that stuff. I think about all the wonderful people that have always served me at your restaurant, and whatever we can do to help you out. If there's a way that I can help you in any way, please reach out, because I think about my chef friends. I think about, believe it or not, I went to high school with maybe 3 people that are professional servers for their life, and they all do very well at very nice high-end restaurants, making a good living, and they're all furloughed right now. So it's so important to see people back in restaurants. Not in the same way that I heard today. I heard that Arizona has opened up all their restaurants with 0 restrictions, and I saw pictures of people in a crowded restaurant, no masks, jowl to jowl. That's not a scientific or a medically acceptable way to open up this country. If you're brave and you want to go out and do that, that's all well and good. But think about the doctors and the nurses and the PAs and the first responders and all the people that have to deal with the fallout of you not being smart. Again, as I said yesterday, the way I look at this whole thing is that we have put this time in a bank, and we can either take that equity and double down on it and say we are going to be a healthy, wonderful community as a result of this time that we've put aside, or a lot of people are starting to feel that that equity is just burning a hole right in their pocket. And it might be that the people that they're sequestering with aren't their favorite people, or they're starting to weigh on their nerves. They want to go to the beach. They want to get on a plane. They want to go do that stuff. We all understand it. We all want to go do something. Like I said, today I went up and visited Gary Eberly in Paso Robles with a mask on, and I never got more than 25 feet from him. Fortunately, he is a big personality and a wonderfully big man. I got to, carefully maneuver through his tasting room back to his office. We had a fantastic discussion, and then this Friday, we're going to be doing a Zoom talk on the Paso Robles Wine Alliance website, and we're going to be talking about alcohol levels in Paso. So I dropped him off 2 fairly miraculous wines. One is a Zinfandel made from the Paso Robles Highlands District from the French Camp Vineyard that is only 13.9% alcohol. Yes, a Paso Zin under 14. And we didn't 13.9 it just to miss some taxes. It is literally and honestly 13.9. And then I also dropped him off just to show him the other side of my winemaking personality, a Zinfandel, a Viognier made from the Paso Robles Highlands District. Same vineyard, French Camp, different vintage. This is 18 as opposed to 16. The irony is 16 was hotter. It was a riper vintage, but the Zin is only 13.9. And the deal is you can take Zin in at 24, 25 bricks, and it makes a very, very good wine. Viognier likes to be completely ripe, and it's got these weird kind of fluctuations of acid and sugar, and you really, really got to pay attention to it. So that's we got Travis Proctor in the house, another winemaker and a guy that could definitely check me as far as to make sure. Now I know when I start seeing winemakers come in, I'm like, all right, make sure everything you say is when people can look this stuff up anytime. it was so nice, 20 years ago, you could just completely BS and no one would ever know. Now, everything you say, if anyone thinks you could be wrong, you can just Google it. Even at a winemaker dinner, I've had people say, oh, actually Aristophanes was 426 AD. I'm like, thank you. My normal rule is if you can prove that anything I say wrong in my presentations or in my show, I will buy you a drink, and I will keep that option open. One thing you guys should know too, this will be the last Thursday show for a while. We're gonna drop Tuesdays and Thursdays from the day drinking. You know what that means? Independent study. So I'm expecting none of you to slack. If you're slacking, I will come after you and ask you. Remember your liver is evil and it must be punished gently, just gently enough that you live to be at least 85. And remember that 10% of your liver's enzymatic function is to produce an enzyme called dehydrogenase enzyme. And that dehydrogenase enzyme really only has one purpose, and that's to knock a hydrogen ion off of ethanol molecule, which turns it aldehydic. The aldehydes are absorbed as acetate. Acetate becomes energy in the human body. So if you're a religious person, you were created to drink. If God doesn't make mistakes, why would you have a liver that processes alcohol? I ask this to both the Mormons and the Muslims. What the hell? Don't you trust God? If you are a secular humanist, such as myself, I would say that evolution has given our fruitivore sort of ancestors the opportunity to use the ripest fruit in the forest and the smell, the remote sensing ability of the human nose to sense where the ripest fruit is in the forest by virtue of the smell of fermentation. And as a result, it's an evolutionary miracle and just such an incredible nutriment bonus for us to be able to use alcohol, especially, 2, 3, and 4 million years ago. Australopithecine afarensis down in the Olduvai Gorge in Africa. Of course, if you found a source of alcohol and nutrients, that would be something not only beautiful so you could get some food in you, naked and afraid, right? Get some calories in you, but then you get the added sort of bonus of intoxication, which makes perfect sense unless you get intoxicated enough that the saber-toothed tiger comes in and takes you out. So you do have to be a little bit careful, absolutely. Awesome. So what we're going to be doing for our main wine tonight is a real special thing. So yes, so Tuesdays and Thursdays are out next week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 o'clock. Mondays and Wednesdays, education and a wine, and about an hour show, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. And then Fridays will always be special guests, and our guests are elevating. We're going to have Michelle Ball, the Mezcal Maven, tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and we're going to be drinking Mezcal, baby, and it's going to be amazing. I'm also hoping in the last 10 to 15 minutes to bring in my friend Jeff Vertenicht. And Jeff lived for a very long time in Oaxaca, and as a musician, was very good friends and jam buddies with a lot of the mezcaleros, the guys who make mezcal. And so he has a very, very strong knowledge of the culture of mezcal. And Michelle Ball is incredibly knowledgeable, not only about the culture, but about how mezcal is made, the different styles, the different magueys, and all the different stuff that I'm going to have to go to school on so I can ask the good questions tomorrow. So please come on in at 5 o'clock and tomorrow, and I'll post the Zoom on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and we'll all get together. And we've got Tommy and Jennifer back in Santa Barbara. If for some reason, Jennifer, Ms. Mackey, if for some reason you can't see, oh yeah, put the Vidal through the aerator. I like that too. If for some reason, if you're watching on J.Wilkes Wine Santa Barbara, I've somehow lost my video. So if you can't see me, feel free to go over to Wes Hagen or over to Instagram. But it looks like no one's complaining. So, and James Kennedy and Bob and Michelle, so stoked. Looks like James is drinking some Smashberry Red. I hope that wine is treating you well. I quite like that blend. Well, this wine, Dominic, has been aerating in my glass for a little while. It's still showing amazing acidity. A lot of that nice sort of like lemon curd. And that is a Vidal Blanc, a wine that my bud Dom sent me from Gardner, New York. It's delicious. So let's get into welcome to Day Drinking, brought to you by the Miller Family Wine Company and the Profaci Vineyards of New York. Again, like I said, my wife tells me, because she's been really digging this whole YouTube, Instagram story stuff, that one thing that Instagram people do on a regular basis is whatever they're sent, they open it on camera and share it with their followers. And so I will just go ahead and say, if you want to send me booze, Fantastic. I'll open it on camera at 4:45 and we'll get it on. I've been really enjoying these wines from New York, and they've been teaching me something, and that is so, so important. And welcome to you, Michael. So glad you're here. My friend Michael Holland, who's the archivist for the city of Los Angeles, had mentioned to me yesterday that Los Angeles is going to be opening up, I think you said on August 1st, a number of different types of businesses will be available. I don't know if it will be a full opening, but August 1st, I guess, is what the city of Los Angeles is talking about. And happy Thursday to you. Look what I found. So this is a 2013, I want to make sure the year is right, 2013 J.Wilkes Chardonnay, Santa Maria Valley. So this is going to be predominantly Bien Nacido, a little bit of Solomon Hills, maybe a little bit of, could be a little bit of Sierra Madre, could be a little Gary's Vineyard, or Gary Vineyard, which is all Santa Maria Valley. So what we're trying to do with our J.Wilkes program is to bring in as many vineyards as possible and blend them together. So we're making wines that represent an American viticultural area, such as Napa Valley, Santa Maria Valley, Santa Rita Hills, Paso Robles Highlands District. So the idea here is to make the best wines for the best price possible that are wonderful wines to understand a sense of place, not a sense of sight. You know, you've got the vine, you've got the vineyard, you've got, sort of, the area around the vineyard, and then you have the American viticultural area, then you have the county, then you have the state, and then you have American. So you can call a wine American. Very rare to see it on a label, sometimes from states that don't, like if you buy a wine from Kentucky, it might well say American wine. Why? Because they don't want to admit it's from Kentucky. And then from there, you can also call it Kentucky. You could call it California wine, Kentucky wine. Then you can go down to a region, North Coast, Central Coast, South Coast. And then you can go down to a county, Santa Barbara County, Sonoma County would be, I think, two of the famous ones that I could remember. And then you can get down to the American viticultural area, Howell Mountain, Santa Rita Hills, Paso Robles Highlands District, a very detailed and specific area that is delineated by a legal federal boundary where 85% of the fruit has to be grown within that boundary to be able to designate it as an AVA. And then even smaller than an AVA. So that's what I do. J.Wilkes is only AVA designated. So we're going to try to get as many vineyards within that AVA, throw them together in one blend to represent a place, but not a site. Site, vineyard designation is where stuff starts getting very expensive. Most vineyard designated wines, I would say on average, somewhere between $35 and $100. And if you get up to Napa, Sonoma, Burgundy, Bordeaux, we're talking thousands of dollars for a vineyard designated wine. And I always rail against vineyard designated wine by saying vineyard designated wine is almost never worth it. How many vineyards in Santa Barbara County should actually be vineyard designated? We don't frickin' know because we haven't made wine here in long enough. How long did it take for Grand Crus in Burgundy to become Grand Crus? 500 years. How long did it take to understand that Bordeaux is influenced by basically a geological sort of anomaly called the Cormigian deposit that basically as you follow that, 100 years after the 1855 classification, we figured out the classification got it exactly right geologically, that there was actually a movement of specific stone that follows the first growths in Bordeaux. So, dirt matters and dirt don't lie. So what I really want to talk about is Chardonnay and how Chardonnay ages. Chardonnay, believe it or not, even though it grows almost anywhere in California from region 1 to region 4, when you grow it in a cool region such as Santa Maria Valley in a special vineyard like Bien Nacido, Solomon Hills, and some of the other sources of this vineyard. I have not tasted this wine, by the way, in 3 years, so I'm extraordinarily excited. Did I make this wine? Nope, I did not. So I can say anything about it I want. Is it for sale? Nope, it's been sold out for 4 years. So what the hell am I showing it for you? Because I want to taste it and I want to have some fun. And this is day drinking with Wes Hagen, damn it. So let's get it on. So 2013 J.Wilkes, Santa Maria Valley. Let's do it. And as I open this wine, I will break my own rule and welcome Mr. Andrew Turner. Andrew Turner, ladies and gentlemen. Who just said hello to me over on my Facebook page. Andrew helped us at Clos Pepe for my last, 4 or 5 years there. He's my golfing buddy, and we've always had a fantastic relationship. He's also an advanced sommelier, and he always teaches me things about wonderful things. Introduced me to orange wine, introduced me to Grosvenor. introduced me to a lot of things and helped increase my passion for one of my favorite grapes, Chenin Blanc. So cheers, brother. So the big question I have when I pour, it's pretty easy to know what to expect out of a 5 to 10-year-old white wine as soon as you pour it in the glass. And that is, how gold is it, right? You know, is it going to be, how much of that gold color, how much, you know, how much oxidation is there? And I would say, you know, it is definitely medium gold. It's definitely gone beyond the straw and it's into gold. I don't think it's matterized. I don't think it's showing any brown character. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking under incandescent or natural light. I want to look at the meniscus, and you guys know how to spell meniscus, right? Or what a meniscus is. It's on your knee, but it's also in all fluids. So the meniscus is just a fancy word for the edge of the wine. So where the surface tension of the glass reaches the liquid, that's the meniscus. So right in the middle, what I'm doing is I'm looking down on the wine through light on white paper and seeing if I can see any notes of matterization. So I'm looking gold and light color. So what I want to see in a wine that has that medium gold color, I want to see almost a silver color on the meniscus, because that means the wine is going to be sound. If it's a little brown, if it's a red wine, it would be brickish. But if it starts to show a little matterization or a little kind of sherry-like brownness on the edge, that's what I'm thinking. I don't even have to smell this wine. It's going to be over the hill. Without smelling it, just on a visual, and I don't like visual discussions of wine. I don't think they really matter. If the wine's a little cloudy, I don't care. If it's a natural wine and it's a badass wine, let's drink it. If it's as clean as wine gets, and the cleanest wine, we use the term brilliant. So we've got, I would say this is a medium gold brilliant hue. Just by looking at it, I haven't smelled it yet. I'm keeping it away from my face, so I can't smell it. I'm going to assume by the color and the visual inspection over the paper that this wine is going to be sound, and it's going to be right up my alley. Remember, I like old wines. I like conversation more than beauty in wine. I like complexity, and I like when wines speak of place. Devoid of their fruit, all the wine has left is where it was born and where it was raised. So young California wine is hard to tell where it's from. But once a wine starts losing its sort of baby fat, its edge, its fruit, and its its fruit sort of intensity, what comes through that once the fruit sublimates is complexity, minerality, all the things that I just absolutely love in a wine. Secondary and tertiary notes. So primary smells like fruit. Secondary, the fruit starting to subside, and more complex elements like chalk, or maybe a little bit of oak character, or a little bit of like confectionery character. What am I thinking of? Like Werther's candies, or like butterscotch tends to be something that comes in as the wine. The wines tend to get a little more lactic as they age. They start smelling like things that would be associated with butter, associated with cream, associated with candies that also use dairy products. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get to day drinking. If there was such thing as hazelnut cotton candy, that's what this wine smells like right now. Big hit of brown butter. I think I'm in for a treat. I mean, if I was smelling this wine blind, I would guess a 5-year-old white Burgundy, probably Village to, I don't know if I'd go Premier Cru. Lime, maybe some baked apple, maybe some white plum. Doesn't matter what I smell, right? I mean, is it enticing? Yes. Is this a fun mental exercise that I do, trying to discover essences and esters within these wines? Yes, and that's why I do it. If it didn't give me pleasure, screw it. I don't want to talk about wine. I want to drink it, right? But we're here talking about wine, and this is very important for me to pontificate, in the sense that, like, using pontificate like its original usage, which is to talk about the pontiff, the pope. Why is the pontiff the pope? Well, pontiff means bridge, pont. So the pope is the guy who takes, basically is the bridge between heaven and earth. And I'm just trying to pontificate in the sense that I'm trying to build a bridge from what I'm experienced to this wine in language and in a visual, so you guys can understand and start understanding, and hopefully give you an idea of how to appreciate Chardonnay as it ages a little bit better. For me, I want to make sure that the smell isn't dirty. It's not like sour or leathery, or it doesn't smell like sherry. And if it's less than 20 years old and it does smell like sherry, it should be sherry on the edge of perception. I love the ideas of edge of perception. Edge of perception is a word I learned in a cookbook by Jacques Pepin. And basically the idea that all great Michelin-starred cuisine is every spice, every flavor is at the edge of perception. It's not obvious. Great food, great wine is not obvious. It is so complex that what we taste and what we smell is hard to describe. And to me, that's what complexity means. People are like, what do you mean by the wine's complex? I'm like, well, I stick my nose in and I can't describe everything. It's just going in so many different ways. Most human beings can identify about 6 to 10 things within a wine. If they have the sort of language and the lexicon to do so. Sommeliers can take that up to 200. So you can train your nose. Your nose, your olfactory sense, your olfactory lobe, everything that, the papillae of your tongue, your flavor receptors. If you use them and consider them and practice them and use the genius of human discernment, that genius will actually help you identify other things that you smell in wine. Why do I care if I smell baked apple in a wine? Why does it matter? Why don't you just shut the hell up and drink it? Yeah, we should, but this is a show, so we got to do something else. I would say that if you find wines in your notes, the favorite wines you've ever tasted, you look through your tasting notebook, and we're going to do a whole show with a master sommelier about should we take notes, how to take notes, and how to make them meaningful. For me, what I think about is meaningful with my tasting notes and my tasting notebook is I go through once in a while and I will actually do sort of break everything up into various things about what were my favorite wines last year and why. Now, if the 5 of my favorite Chardonnays last year that I consumed, all of them included baked apple as part of the description, I would say, damn, I want to start looking for wines where I see baked apple in the tasting notes, because that would give me a sense. Like if I happen to love Pinot Noirs from Santa Maria Valley that have a strong, ripe strawberry aroma. I love strawberries. It's like one of my favorite fruits, and for some reason they don't spike my blood sugar, whatever it is, I eat a lot of strawberries. So if I find a delicious and wonderful Pinot Noir that has that strawberry character, I might be excited. So if I see tasting notes at Byron, tasting notes, wherever I'm tasting at Melville, and it said, expect a big hit of strawberry in the nose, I'm like, bring that one. So there are actual reasons that we play this sort of, taking tasting notes is almost masturbatory. Why do you have to like make it part of you? Why don't you make it about the wine? Why don't we make the wine beautiful? And that's what sort of I want to do. So I just embarrassed myself. Can you see? So really, really wonderfully complex nose on the 2013. This wine was made by Vidal Perez, who worked with Jeff Wilkes while he was the winemaker at Central Coast Wine Services. So Vidal took over the production of J.Wilkes from 2002. There's a year or two where they didn't make any wine, and in 2012, they brought the brand back and tapped Vidal Perez, who was really working quite closely with Jeff Wilkes and knew Jeff's style, who made the wine for 12, 13, and 14. I came in 15, blended the 14s, and then Vidal left, and I became the full-time winemaker in 15. Creamy and lactic, some nice little buttery notes. And I know this wine really was not at all buttery when it was released. It had to earn its butter. It really did. This wine is singing. This wine, when I say singing, someone has asked me, a really bad example of what I mean by singing is something I use all the time, is it has this like kind of, it's like almost like a vibration because it's complete. And when you put it in the mouth, you can tell when a wine is mature because it's not like there's the attack, there's the mid palate, there's the finish. It's like it just kind of vibrates in the mouth and has a completeness and a holistic character that is, you just can't fake. And the hardest thing about it is it requires something that is completely and totally un-American, talking to you, Arizona, patience. If you can be patient with a wine, the wine will pay you back in complexity. If you can be patient in a conversation, the conversation will pay you back in knowledge and learning. This wine might and likely is probably the last bottle of 2013 that I know of. And how exciting is it that it has this? Sometimes when I even drink like an amazing red wine that has a little more intensity, but it has that same singing character, I describe it almost like that feeling you get when you put just enough wasabi in your mouth and it just kind of goes, and then before you see tomorrow's lottery numbers and start speaking in tongues, it goes away. So that's sort of the way that I describe it, is that kind of humming, wonderful, buzzing completeness that you get when you taste a wine. It's the closest I can come in language to describe what's going on. But this wine, I think blind, would certainly appeal to people who drink white Burgundy with some age on it. It has a character very, very similar to a white Burgundy in my world. But, we didn't raise it to be white Burgundy. We raised it to be Santa Maria Valley. It just so happens that we raised it right and went out into the world and decided to take a left turn at Bone, right up the RN74. I'm doing shrimp scampi with northern white beans tonight. And I'm really looking forward to this. Not only that, but it is drinking beautifully, beautifully right from the bottle. And I'm really excited about that because normally I think with a wine that age, you would I decant a 13? That's a real tough question. This wine does not need a decantation. It's already probably has maybe 1.5 to 2 parts of dissolved oxygen as it stands right now in the ice bucket. So I'm gonna drink the hell out of that wine with my scampi tonight. And I might actually add a little less garlic because even though I like delicate wines, I generally like bold flavors in my food, which I know it's weird, but so am I. It's all well and good, but I'm really looking forward to having that one with dinner tonight. Really, really special. So let's catch up and make sure we're all on the same page. Tomorrow we're having our Mezcal show with Michelle Ball, one of my closest friends from Lompoc for the last 20 years. And then we are next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I did put up the schedule for the next 2 weeks so you can see what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to have in fun. I love to take requests. If you want to tell me what you want to learn, we've got some other opportunities. I think next week I might, and then following weeks, every Friday it's going to be a Zoom webinar with a really, really cool guest. We've got Matt Kettman coming on from Wine Enthusiast Magazine. We've got Will Costello, Master Sommelier. We've got one of the directors from the Central Coast Vineyard team talking about sustainability, organics, and biodynamic. Let's see what else we've got. And then we have a series where we have all 3 of our winemakers at the Miller Family Wine Company. We're going to have Jonathan Nagy on. We're going to have Roxy Ward on. And we're going to have John Crandall on. The 3 winemakers who are responsible for the Ballard Lane, Smashberry, and the Barrel Burner wine. So that'll be really, really fun. Really important is that the 50% sale ends tomorrow at Miller Family Wine Company. Warning, I'm about to go 30 seconds of strictly commercial. If you go over to millerfamilywines.com and use the promo code DD50, that will automatically get you guys 50% off Barrel Burner, Smashberry, and the Ballard Lane. All those wines are $7.50 a bottle, right across the line, normally $15. And let's see what else. Oh, it also gives you a $10 flat rate shipping per box. So case of wine, $10, 2 cases of wine, $20, 3 cases, $30. So feel free. Think about definitely try to pick up. We just found out, and thank you. I think it was Christy told me that she tried to order some Smashberry Rosé this morning, and we had sold out. I'm like, we sold out 5,000 cases of Smashberry Rosé. Yes. We just we're out of stock because we didn't have enough at the shippers. So we contacted the shippers and we delivered extra rosé, so you will not see an out of stock on the rosé. There was a huge run on the rosé because everyone knows for $7.50 that rosé is fire. It is very, very tasty and good. J.Wilkes wines, 20% off 6-pack or more, and if you get you and your friends and your neighbors can get up to a 12-pack, you get 25% off. So you're basically looking at $22 a bottle for a 92 points awesome Pinot Noir sourced from the Miller's Best Vineyards, as well as some other ones. But it's going to be loads of fun. So obviously, on Tuesday, I brought my wife on camera, and she's really helping me put the show together. And the show will be evolving. We'll be moving. I want to make sure you guys feel, well, thank you, Joe. Joe got himself a case of the J.Wilkes Pinot Blanc today. The Pinot Blanc is actually drinking incredibly well, and the 18 is really, really quite good. I'm really looking forward to the release of the 19 as well. Yes, Christian Labonte. Yes, as of this afternoon, the Smashberry is back up. So you guys have been so amazingly supportive. So thank you from my bottom of my heart. If I wasn't able to pivot and do this show and see an amazing amount of sales, I don't know if I'd still be gainfully employed. I always like to say that I retired from a very lucrative career in public education to become a winemaker, but that's pretty much BS. The kids drove me to drink and I went pro. And now you guys are keeping me from having to do this, because if I can't do my show and I can't sell any wine and I can't travel, I'm going to probably have to go back teaching high school on Zoom. And trust me, I do not want to go back to teaching high school. If you teach high school, you are a hero. And if you're a parent and you're at home teaching your own kids, are you agreeing with me now that teachers deserve a six-figure salary for putting up with those damn kids all day? You're bitching and moaning about having 2 kids on a Zoom call? Think about being in a classroom with 36 ninth graders. Yeah. If that's not worth $100,000 a year, I don't know what is. So let's take care of our teachers. Let's take care of our first responders. And as always, I want to make sure that you guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Super, super stoked. Thank you, Tammy, for supporting. I thought Chanda did a wonderful job on the program. We might actually, maybe once a month on a Tuesday or something. My wife also is, she's an incredible physical trainer. She trains me, which if she can train me, you've got to be incredible. She also knows more about dog training than anyone I know. Last time we did a Zoom call or Zoom webinar on dog training, we actually probably had more hits than we'd ever had before, probably because she's a lot easier to look at. How lucky am I that I'm married to her? So that's pretty much what we're doing. Yes, everybody who's out there working hard is a hero today. I had a wonderful opportunity to drive, between Paso Robles and Santa Maria today. It was nice to see that the world is still out there, and that and had a lovely conversation with the wonderful and heroic and amazing Gary Everly. And check the Paso Robles Wine Alliance website. And do join us a week from tomorrow, early in the afternoon. It's going to be like 2 o'clock or 2:30. And then I'm also doing another Zoom tasting after that, a webinar. And then again, don't miss tomorrow. If you're like, why is Mezcal all of a sudden the hottest thing at the bar? If you've never been down to, Mezcal is obviously making a huge inroads right now, and is taking on sort of high-end tequila for that sort of supremacy. So what is Mezcal and why is it different than tequila? We'll talk a little bit about the differences. We'll talk a little bit about the geology and the geography. We'll get a little bit about what the styles are, how the styles are made, and how they are influenced. And we'll taste so much Mezcal that I'll probably, by the end, I'll be doing my best to stay on my seat. So looking forward to that. And as I always say, thanks again to Dominic for sharing his Vidal Blanc. He did mention, and now it's gained a little bit of air, and my glass is empty. I am going to put it through this wonderful aerator and see maybe how it's changed over the last hour. Definitely a little brighter and aromatic. I'm starting to get a little more peach skin, a little more spiciness to it as well. So it's actually smelling a little bit less reductive, and I'm not getting nearly as much sulfur dioxide on the nose. And if you're wondering what the hell I'm doing, we over on Facebook, we spend 4:45 to 5 o'clock having sort of a casual moment where we don't have really anything to say. People have been sending me booze. So damn right I'm going to open some booze for free and taste it and talk about it. And Dominic has been nice. He sent me 6 or 7 different wines from his home and his home winemaking projects in Gardner, New York. And I have to say, Dom, you're ready for the prime time. This is good stuff. So remember to take care of everyone in your house. Make sure you pet your dog a little extra. Take an extra walk. Realize that I just read this morning in the New York Times that they think being outside is a lot safer than they originally thought, and that get your medical information from someone that's not a winemaker. But I'll share with what I heard, because that was that when they traced all of the Wuhan infections, only 2 could be traced to for anyone who picked up the virus outside. So it looks like being outdoors is fairly safe, but obviously I like 10 feet between me and anyone. I tend to be I wear my plague pants. You can see my plague pants are basically just fuzzy sweats that have skull and crossbones on them to remind people to stay the hell away. So take care of yourself. I want you to be here tomorrow. I want you to be here in 2 weeks. I want you to be here in 10 years. So really appreciate all of you guys spending some time with me tonight. James Sparks, winemaker over at Liquid Farm, just came in. So gotta love that. Bro, we were just talking about some gorgeous 13 Chardonnays. If you haven't opened some 13 Chardonnay in a while, go back and check out the 13s right now. They are drinking absolutely amazing. This one was Bien Nacido and Solomon Hills blend with a little bit of Gary and a little bit of Sierra Madre. But holy God, the 13s are just drinking beautifully. I'm very, very happy with it. Awesome. So make sure, overtip your delivery drivers. Find someone in your family, find someone in your social circle, find someone in your neighborhood that needs a little bit of love tonight. Give them a call. Make sure they know that that you're thinking of them, that you care for them, and that humanism can be put out into the universe, right? The greatest thing about being a human being on this planet is that we're spinning 70,000 miles an hour around the sun. 70,000 miles an hour, but it feels like we're standing still. That's a miracle. Every breath is a miracle. I like to look at everything that's happened on this planet in the last 4.5 billion years has led to me. And it's my job to give love, attention, passion, education, and interest back to the world because the world has given me so much. So do think about being extraordinarily kind everywhere you go. I'm feeling it, right? I think you're feeling it. I'm feeling it. Everyone I talk to says, I just really hope this feeling of we're in this together persists after this event. And I think it will. It's going to fundamentally change who we are as human beings. And I hope it fundamentally changes us for the best. So trust doctors, trust science. Let's be careful. Let's take this time that we've spent by ourselves and being careful and wearing masks as money in the bank. And let's keep that money there and let it build. And let's not let it burn a hole in our pocket and get out and do something stupid. I want to hang out with all of you in a couple months, and I want to make sure that I was actually talking to more people about our get together in Vegas. It's going to happen. We're going to have an offline in Vegas, and everyone who wants to come should come, and I will provide all the booze. How about that? At least while we're together. Maybe not if you're staying for a week. You can take care of a couple days, but we will definitely have an offline to end all offlines, and it will be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Go out. Hug someone in your house that you trust. Hug your dog, give everyone a kiss, and just when you look outside, realize what a wonderful world we live in. The only reason we feel that this is so dangerous, and I haven't said this for a couple of weeks, is because we're so damn safe. I mean, never before in the history of humanity have we been so safe, and has science kept us basically living so long. So remember, we are living in the greatest moment in human history, and we are just in a little crazy hiccup, and certainly looking forward to spending time with everyone we can't spend time with. And over the last few days, I've actually spent a few times actually talking to some of my friends from 30 feet away from a car. I think we'll get tired of it, but we'll get through it. And thank you everyone who's spending extra special time. You might not be in any incredibly grave danger from this disease, but people like me who are immunosuppressed and doctors and everything really appreciate you guys really hunkering down. So I appreciate it. Awesome. Have a great night. And I will see you here tomorrow, actually on Zoom. And we will cross-post it to J.Wilkes Wine Santa Barbara, but not to Instagram and not to the Wes Hagen Facebook page. So you have to come in on the J.Wilkes Wine Santa Barbara Facebook page if you want to see the live stream. And you can ask questions there. But we love you guys to come in on Zoom too. So that'll be fun. And we'll talk all about mezcal and tequila. So it'll be fun. Awesome, guys. Take good care. Have a great night. Eat some delicious food. And if you can't be with the wine you love the wine you're with. See you guys. Have an awesome night.